Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's almost the end of the week. We got this. We got this, guys. So, a reminder from yesterday's lesson, we were talking about how the Articles of Confederation plan isn't going to work and how the group of delegates, representatives from each state came together to rewrite the plan that would become known as the Constitution in 1787. Now, a recap of yesterday. We had to fix this legislative branch. Congress was only 13 people making laws for the entire country, and that wasn't going to work. So we know they wanted to add more people, but the question was from where? Whoever these people were going to write laws for their own states. So we had what we called the Great Compromise, okay, where big states got what they wanted, more people, more power, and small states got what they wanted too, equal representation. Okay, basically, when you add these two plans together, you get a two-section Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. This keeps both large population and small population states happy so the nation can be united. Now, today we will analyze how states compromised while restructuring the legislative branch again. Why is this happening? Well, remember when we talked about more people, more power? Well, southern states want to count their slaves as population, which is going to upset the North. And by the end of class today, you're going to judge the fairness of the 3/5 compromise. So again, this leading idea that if you have more representation in Congress, the laws you want will be written. So every state wants to have a lot of representatives in Congress. So when we're looking at our colonies here, our map, the northern states are going to think slaves should not be counted as population because it will give the South more power in Congress or more political influence. The Southerners are saying, you all treat the enslaved population as property, therefore you shouldn't count them as population, okay? Now, the Southern states, they're going to say, but my slaves do live here, so they should be counted, okay? Now, stop. Time to discuss. How would you make the North and South happy to keep the nation united over the issue of counting slaves as population? Take a moment to discuss in small group. Thank you for sharing your opinions. So what ends up happening here is the 3/5 compromise, okay? Again, we're going to do it. The 3/5 compromise is the northern states versus the southern states. And in the 3/5 compromise, they decide to count only 3 out of every 5 slaves as population, okay? So you can see here in the image that only 3 out of the 5 would be counted. Remember, slaves are not allowed to vote. This enslaved population, guys, it was a terrible existence. What happened to the slaves, we know, was a stain on our history. And I don't want you to think that this meant 3 out of 5 slaves could vote. No. It just means they're being counted, okay, as for more people, more power, okay? They cannot be in Congress either, all right? So now we're going to move into our virtual notebook on page 46. Here we have, after splitting the legislative branch into 2 sections to compromise between the large versus small states, the Constitution was almost complete. As agreed to earlier, the population of each state decided how many representatives they got. In the southern states, leaders wanted to count slaves as population, but the northern states angrily disagreed, putting the nation on edge again. The second compromise was made to complete the Constitution. So here we have it, okay? Down below, we have our explanation, all right? The 3/5 compromise. Now we have our analysis questions. Explain why the North and South were disagreeing. And do you think the 3/5 compromise was fair? Make sure you explain your answer. That's it, guys, for today. When you're done in your notebook, there's one more thing that you're going to run through, and that is the quotes activity, okay? We want you to be able to read through different quotes and decide which compromise is the speaker talking about and which side are they on.